So the expansion draft is today, and I actually saw this post online. This was shared by Twitter account by the name, obviously the Ken Swift Twitter account. It's where I got half of the stuff for the ideas. Keeps me up to date on everything. But it's talking about the expansion draft and the fact that Valkyries have had 10 days to make trades. I actually don't think that this would be something that's shared today if they didn't make any trades. Maybe I'm looking too far into this. Maybe this is nothing, but that would be my theory on it all. But before we get on to things, we're doing Hoopsmas. We're uploading 5 videos every single day for for the month of December. Between now and Christmas, we're trying to hit 40,000 subscribers. And if we can hit 39.7k by the end of the day, that'll be absolutely insane. We're also going live for the expansion draft. But this makes things very, very interesting. Looking at some of the responses, maybe using a draft pick, don't see discussion being leaked. This whole thing is suspect. Supposedly trades are announced on the show and players aren't informed ahead of time. This is mental. They will announce trades that were notified prior to the draft. Some teams like the Liberty are projected to have given up draft picks to have protected their roster. Wow. It's kind of mental that this is only coming out now. It's only coming out now that they're that they're getting this. And then it's funny when it comes to the teams. It's like some teams actually get a 7th blocked player. And the Connecticut Sun can block 8 players because 2 of their players are ineligible in Bree Jones and DeWanna Bonner. So a bunch of teams get to protect 7 players. 6 players plus these. Dallas wouldn't protect Natasha Howard anyway. They don't care. She's an unrestricted free agent. She said she's leaving. And Brittany Griner as well, which is a kind of mad one. But yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see who they're trying to trade for, who they're going to trade for when it comes to the Valkyries. And I think that it's going to be a lot of they're just going to end up with a bunch of second round picks. I'm not joking. I think they're going to end up with a load of second round picks over the next couple of years. And with all of those picks and everything coming through, they could set themselves up with this. They could genuinely just say, we don't care about this expansion draft. We're going to trade a bunch of players. I would do that. I would literally go and say, okay, we can take, if I'm the Mystics, imagine them offering a second to not take Jade Melbourne. Or if you take someone like Jade Melbourne, I would just go to somebody and be like, a team, yeah, who wants her? Who wants her? Early second round, late first round pick. We'll give you her. Or you can go and take that young player. If there's a player you don't want, you can make those trades. But the fact that this is being shared around today means it's very likely there are trades. I think there's no point in sharing it on the freaking day of the draft, of the expansion draft, without there being trades. And I don't know. Maybe I'm very wrong with that one. But there are some very interesting trades that they could make. I think, again, I would say trying to get Steph Dolson and offload her to a contender. Trying to basically be the middleman of a Steph Dolson trade, where you can basically go and take Steph Dolson and turn her into, not a first, but you could turn her into a couple of seconds. Could Steph Dolson be worth a first? A late first? Maybe. But I do think it's going to be hard to trade for a high draft pick in this year's draft because the draft picks are gold dust. I think you could use a player to trade up in the draft. For example, you could probably trade, as I've said, where it's Seattle could potentially use Jewel Lloyd to trade up in the draft. They're not going to be able to, say, trade Jewel Lloyd for 3, but they might be able to trade Jewel Lloyd and 9 for 3. The Jewel Lloyd to trade up 6 spots. Just because of everyone being on a 1-year rental and then all the stuff with those 2025 rookie contracts being freaking gold dust. Having multiple first round picks in 2025, if you hit on those first round picks, you're going to be absolutely sorted. When it comes to Chicago having 2 picks in this year's draft, long term, if they hit on both of them, like if they somehow end up with like a Pow Pow and a Citron in your 2 picks, or even heck, even Olivia Miles and Citron with the 2 picks, and you're like, okay, like there's something there, and you have them both on a really good contract for 4 years. So I would see the Valkyries maybe trying to like make some sort of trades and be the middleman. Like if they can act as a middleman for and getting a lot of players. They can get some picks, and it's all about the long term when it comes to the Valkyries, because short term they're not going to be up to much. Like they're genuinely, like, I don't see them being good this year. I don't see them being good next year. But maybe they could be good next year, honestly. Like all they have to do is it's the great reset. Every single player, they're almost certainly in the negotiations, CBA, going to get rid of the core rule. So basically everything's going to be free. So if you're the Golden State Valkyries and you've proven you're a good organization, you can get whoever you want. Genuinely. You can literally just go and take whoever you want. But yeah, that's it. Do you guys think that I'm kind of overreacting to this? Do you think that maybe this is just something that the WNBA put out there to let people know this is possible? Because I think they wouldn't. I think there's a near 0% chance there's no trade involved. I think there will be situations where people are trying to protect their players. I think maybe the Liberty might have to give up a pick to protect Kayla Thornton. Or maybe they really want Maureen Johannes to come back. Because Maureen Johannes is somebody that could be the best bench player in the W next year. So maybe they're like, she wants to come back and she wants to come back next year to New York. So maybe they're just like, we want Maureen Johannes enough that we will, I don't know, give you a 2nd round pick if you select somebody else. But I also don't know if they want Kayla Thornton. Maybe they select Kayla Thornton or Maureen Johannes, and then they literally give up a pick to get the player back. Something like that. And if I was the Liberty, I would do that. And if I was the Lynx, I'd do the same to try to keep Diamond Miller. But it's going to be a really interesting thing. Like, we could see a bunch of players like Awak Kuier. We could see a whole bunch of players, and it will be an interesting one. Like, we see a whole bunch of players that we don't know. Like, if Dallas don't protect Carla Lette, you go and take her. She'll be your point guard in the future. If the Sun, for some unknown reason, don't protect Layla Lacan, we could see a team suddenly like Lacan, Lette, and then obviously like Awak Kuier from Dallas. You can see a bunch of players that aren't even in the league this year. The teams just have their rights. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens with the expansion draft. And I made my prediction anyway yesterday, and this will be the last video I upload before I go live for the expansion draft. Well, the last video on this I upload. I have another video ready. Either way, see you guys.